welcome back to another episode of FluentCast. I'm your host, Diego, and today we are going to talk about a festive topic. The one that is all about family, food, and a bit of history.
That's right. Hi everyone, it's Amanda. Today, we're diving into Thanksgiving. Whether you've heard about this holiday from movies, TV shows, or maybe even your English classes, we are here to unpack everything about it.
And we will go over the traditions, the history, and even some of the controversies around Thanksgiving. Plus, we will share some tips to help you talk about this holiday in English. And don't worry, we've got some key vocabulary to help you along the way.
Oh, and before we jump in, don't forget to subscribe to FluentCast. It's the easiest way to keep up with all our episodes and practice your English with fun and interesting topics.
Alright, let's start with the basics. Amanda, how would you describe Thanksgiving to someone who's never heard of it?
Good question. So, Thanksgiving is a national holiday celebrated in the United States and Canada. In the US, it's on the fourth Thursday of November, and in Canada, it's celebrated on the second Monday of October. It's a day when families and friends come together, share a big meal, and express gratitude for the things they're thankful for.
And just to clarify, even though many people believe that Thanksgiving is a religious holiday, it is not. Actually, this is a common misunderstanding.
Exactly. While it has roots in harvest celebrations, which can feel spiritual to some, Thanksgiving itself isn't tied to any religion.
Speaking of harvest, let's talk about the origins of Thanksgiving. Amanda, do you want to kick things off?
Sure thing. So, the story most people know is about the Pilgrims, English settlers who arrived in what's now the US in 1620. After a really tough winter, the Pilgrims had a successful harvest the following year, thanks to the help of the Native Americans, particularly the Wampanoag tribe.
That's right, and to celebrate that harvest, they had a feast together in 1621. That celebration is often seen as the first Thanksgiving, though it wasn't called that at the time.
Exactly. Now, the Thanksgiving we know today didn't actually become an official holiday until much later. Diego, do you want to share how that happened?
Of course, it is actually a pretty cool story. Thanksgiving became a national holiday in the US largely thanks to Sarah Josepha Hale. She was a writer and editor who campaigned for years, writing letters to presidents and publishing articles about the importance of having a national day of thanks.
She was super persistent.
She really was, and it finally worked during the Civil War. In 1863, President Abraham Lincoln declared Thanksgiving a national holiday as a way to unite the country during such a difficult time.
So, when you celebrate Thanksgiving today, it's not just about food and family. It's also about remembering history, even though that history is, complicated.
And that brings us to the modern controversies around Thanksgiving. For example, the story of the Pilgrims and the Native Americans is often oversimplified and romanticized.
That's right. The reality is that colonization had a devastating impact on Native American communities, and many people feel that this part of history isn't acknowledged enough during Thanksgiving celebrations.
Yeah, and that's why it is super important to, look at Thanksgiving from multiple perspectives. And speaking of perspectives, Amanda, should we go over some vocabulary before we dive into, some modern traditions?
Great idea. All right, listeners, here are some key words to remember. First, gratitude. Gratitude means feeling thankful or showing appreciation. For example, on Thanksgiving, people often express gratitude for their family and health.
Next word is harvest. A harvest is when crops are collected from the fields. Thanksgiving originally celebrated the harvest season.
Then we have tradition. A tradition is something people do regularly, often as part of their culture or family costumes.
How about feast? This word, feast, is a big meal, usually for a special occasion, and trust me, Thanksgiving feasts are legendary.
Oh, and we can't forget controversy. A controversy is when there's a lot of disagreement or debate about something, like the debates around Thanksgiving history.
And finally, perspective. A perspective is a way of thinking about something, often influenced by your experiences or background.
Alright, now that we've got those down, let's talk about modern Thanksgiving traditions.
Turkey is probably the first thing that comes to mind, right?
Absolutely. Most Thanksgiving meals include turkey, along with stuffing, mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce, and pumpkin pie.
And after the feast, there is usually more to do. Families might watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade on TV, or they will watch football games.
Yup, Thanksgiving has become more than just a meal. It's a day full of activities that bring people together.
But it's not always perfect, right? Sometimes Thanksgiving can come with awkward family conversations or stress over hosting the perfect dinner.
That's true. But it's also a chance to focus on gratitude and connection, which makes it special.
Before we wrap up, let's give our listeners a few tips for talking about Thanksgiving in English.
Great idea. If someone asks you about Thanksgiving, you can share what you're thankful for. For example, I'm thankful for my family and my health.
You can also ask others about their traditions. Try, how do you celebrate Thanksgiving? Or what is your favorite Thanksgiving food?
And if you're celebrating Thanksgiving for the first time, you can say, "This is my first Thanksgiving and I'm excited to try the food."
Alright, FluentCast listeners, that is a wrap up on today's episode.
We hope you enjoyed learning about Thanksgiving and picked up some new vocabulary along the way.
And if you want to keep improving your English, don't forget we offer 101 lessons where you can practice, ask questions, and build your confidence.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Have a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.